Hello, my name's Rhys Gwilym. I'm a senior lecturer in economics at Bangor Business School. Um, Unfortunately, we're not able to meet face to face at the moment, but this video hopefully is going to try and give you some information about the programs in economics that we run in Bangor, and hopefully we'll try and anticipate some of the questions that you might have about those programs. I really hope that this helps to answer those questions and to encourage you to come and study with us next year, because we'd love to have you with us. We run a number of different programs in economics. We have 3 programs which are taught entirely within the business schools. Within the business school, those are financial economics, business economics, and accounting and economics. But we also run a number of joint honours programs. So programs where you'd spend half of your time studying economics in the business school and the other half of your time studying in other schools. So we have programs in economics with a variety of different foreign languages. We have programs in economics and history, economics and politics, economics and social policy, and economics and sociology. But across all of those programs, there's a common stream of economics. If you're on one of those joint honours programs, as I said, you'll be spending half of your time studying economics. If you're studying, following the financial economics or business economics programs, you'll spend more than half of your time looking at economics. But the core modules will be similar across all of our different programs. So I'm going to try and give you a flavour of what that core is, as well as saying something about some of the options around it that you'll be able to engage in more, obviously, if you take a single honours programme, and a bit less if you're following a joint honours programme. So if you came to study with us in Bangor in September, our first year programme, our first year syllabus is based upon the core economics syllabus. So the core economics syllabus has developed over the last 7 or 8 years as a reaction to criticism that arose following the financial crisis in 2008. So the university teaching of economics in general was criticised for being too theoretical and too detached from the real world. And this syllabus, this core economics syllabus, has developed as a reaction to that criticism, essentially. So the core economics syllabus, which you can find more about on the website www.core-econ.org, takes an approach to teaching which is motivated a lot more by real world problems and looking at real world data. So that really gives you a flavour of what our first year is like. It's very much about getting that wider context on the economy, trying to understand the nature of the real world economy, why the world economy is as it is today. So we look at economic history and trying to understand economic development over the last 200 years. We try and understand why it is that some countries are much more economically developed than others. And the answers to that are obviously somewhat in history. And we try and understand some of the wider context of the economy, some elements of which have maybe been neglected by economists in the past. So focusing on issues such as inequality, focusing on how the economy interacts with the environment and society more widely. So looking at issues around climate change and sustainability. So that's the basis of the first year, is really setting the wider context and understanding the economy within that wider context. We then move on in the second year to focus more on, if you like, the technical aspects of economics. So developing some of those technical skills and some of the theoretical understanding. And really there are two pillars to that. And this is probably reasonably common across most universities, university teaching of economics, that we split economics into its two pillars of microeconomics and macroeconomics. So in microeconomics, we're focusing on looking at the decision making of individual economic agents, whether that's me or you, or whether it's firms, businesses, how they make decisions, and trying to understand how those different economic agents interact with each other. So that's microeconomics, looking at the detail of the economy, if you like, looking at individual agents. And macroeconomics, on the other hand, the other pillar, looks at the economy in its entirety. So trying to understand, for example, the nature of economic development in general. So how, what is it that drives economic growth? Looking at other economy-wide variables like inflation and unemployment, and trying to understand what determines those. And of course, looking at the role of government in terms of monetary policy. So, why does the decisions made by the Bank of England on interest rates impact upon the economy generally? Why do decisions made by the Treasury about how much they're going to tax and how much they're going to spend impact upon the economy generally? The third year then moves on to trying to apply those concepts and theoretical ideas that have been learnt in the second year to real world problems, and that involves developing a range of skills and techniques that can be used to analyze real world data. So if you like, that gives you an overview that we start off with a broad context of the economy in the first year. We're focusing more on technical skills in the second year, and then the application in the third year. And really our focus is to develop within our students, to give you the opportunity to develop for yourselves skills which are really valuable, notably analytical skills. Now that involves, data analysis skills, but it also involves wider conceptual skills, being able to take a complex problem and to break it down into its constituent parts, to abstract the really key elements of that problem, to focus on those, and to address the core aspects of an issue. So it's really those analytical skills, and the development of those analytical skills is what our programs in economics are all about. And our objective is that you leave Bangor after 3 years having developed skills which are going to be useful to you in the rest of your lives, whether that's because you want to go on to study further. And we've had plenty of students go on to study at the postgraduate level in very good universities around the UK and around the world to develop academic careers, or whether you want to take those skills into the workplace within the financial sector, or within industry more generally. So that hopefully gives you the flavour of the core aspects of the economics syllabus and how it develops across the 3 years. We also have optional modules. One of the modules that I most enjoy teaching on is a module called Current Issues in Economics, which is available to students on all of our economics programs, where we get to focus on areas of economics outside of that main core. To give you a flavour of the type of subjects that we have looked at this year, unsurprisingly perhaps, we've looked at the economic impacts of Brexit, trying to understand how Brexit is likely to impact upon the UK economy. Another topic that we've been looking at, one of my colleagues has been leading, is on economic evaluation, so understanding how the public sector, how government decides where it's going to make investments. So, for example, how does government decide that it's going to spend money on HS2, high-speed rail, and not spend it in other areas? Other topics that we've looked at recently have included the importance of networks in economics, so the relationships between individual households, individual companies. For example, networks are important in understanding the banking industry and the systemic importance of some banks. And other topics have been in labour markets, migration, regional inequality, and tax. And these are areas that of economics that are currently being discussed in the news, things that are of current importance. I suspect we might be looking at the economic impacts of coronavirus when we run this module next year. But it's also informed by some of our research interests as staff as well. So our staff in Bangor Business School, all of our economics staff are research active. They're all researching various aspects of economics, and we try and use our research experience to try and inform our teaching as well, which hopefully makes our teaching more interesting to our students, and also gives you as students an experience of where the frontier in economic research is today. I hope that's been useful. I hope that I've helped you to make the decision that you do want to come and study economics with us in September. If you've got any questions, please find, my email address is r.a.gwilym@bangor.ac.uk. You can find that on the website, and please feel free to get in contact with any questions that you might have. Okay, thanks a lot for listening. Bye.